And yay, good. I think that will work.
The hot days were over.
They are after today.
That's right. Yep.
Cold nights coming.
All right, if you guys want to go ahead and lay down on your mats, we're going to start there. Just taking some deep breaths, kind of checking in with yourself. Maybe noticing your breath and what it's doing in your body right now. And then even noticing that just by noticing your breath, it usually changes it. Sometimes we open our lung space a little bit more, or we take a deeper, fuller breath when we're being mindful of how we're breathing. And as you sit and breathe, or lay down, and breathe, I'm going to read a prayer for us to start, and we'll end today with the same prayer. But I thought this would be good because we're talking about slowing down today, and especially during, as we're ramping up toward holiday season, and we can sometimes have internal pressure or external pressure to do all the things. So sometimes we need to give ourselves permission to say no, but then also to just slow down and be mindful during this season so it doesn't just fly by us. So this is a prayer by Orrin Crane. It says, "Slow me down, Lord. Ease the pounding of my heart by the quieting of my mind. Steady my hurried pace. Give me, amidst the day's confusion, the calmness of the everlasting hills. Break the tension of my nerves and muscles with the soothing music of singing streams that live in my memory. Help me to know the magical, restoring power of sleep. Teach me the art of taking minute vacations, slowing down to look at a flower, to chat with a friend, to read a few lines from a good book. Remind me of the fable of the hare and the tortoise, that the race is not always to the swift, that there is more to life than measuring its speed. Let me look up at the branches of the towering oak and know that it grew slowly and well. Inspire me to send my own roots down deep into the soil of life's endearing values, that I may grow toward the stars of my greater destiny. Slow me down, Lord. Thank you for hearing and answering my prayer. Gratefully, in your name, amen." So when you're ready, you can go ahead and roll to one side, and we're going to push ourselves up into a gentle seated position. Again, whichever leg feels most comfortable, go ahead and put that one in front. And then check in with your posture. So you're going to kind of make sure that that tailbone is softened down. That engages all of these muscles along the front side of the abdomen. You're going to think about creating space in between your vertebrae, relaxing those shoulders away from your ears, and then just tucking your chin slightly to make sure that your ears are over top of your shoulders. And then here, let's go ahead and either soften your gaze or close your eyes and take a deep breath. Go ahead and take another one. Inhale deeply. Exhale. We're going to start by loosening up some of those shoulder and neck muscles. So if you just want to start shaking your head no from side to side. And if you need to do that more slowly, feel free to do that with more intention. If you need to kind of shake things out, feel free to do that kind of more quickly. Then come back to center. And then we're going to shake our head up and down for yes. Again, just exploring those neck and shoulder muscles as we do so. Maybe there's some agreements that you need to make that you need to get in alignment with today. You can hold those in your mind as you shake your head, yes. And coming back to center, we're gonna go ahead and take that chin down to the chest and then roll that left ear toward your left shoulder. Taking a deep breath. Being mindful of the moment and all that it brings to us. On your next exhale, go ahead and roll that chin down to chest and then keep going, taking that right ear toward your right shoulder. And then go ahead on your next exhale, take that chin back down to your chest. This time you're going to roll the left ear to left shoulder and you're going to take your right hand, make a fist, and put it in the small of your back so that you can pull down on that right shoulder for a deeper stretch along your shoulder and your neck muscles here. Again, slowing down that breath. And when you're ready on your next exhale, go ahead and take that chin back down to your chest. Release that hand to come forward. And then roll that right ear toward the right shoulder. Make a fist with your left hand and place that in the small of the back. And if you'd like, you can start to pull down on that left shoulder, deepening the stretch if that feels comfortable for you today. If not, just let that go and stay where you are. When you're ready, go ahead and roll that chin back down to your chest. Release that left hand to come forward. We're going to go ahead and interlace our hands in front of us, leaving our chin down to our chest. We're going to pull our hands straight out in front of our chest, rounding that upper back down for a nice stretch between those shoulder blades. Taking another deep breath. Then releasing those arms down, kind of rolling up out of that. We're going to go ahead and do some shoulder rolls. First, going back. And again, doing these nice and slow. Exploring what feels good, maybe where there's some tension. I was holding a baby for a while this morning, so my shoulders are feeling like they need some loosening up today. Then going the other direction. Again, moving with intention.
You got to hold baby.
I know, it was so fun. Got that fixed, so. When you're ready, you can take those shoulders straight up towards your ears, tightening those trapezius muscles and then releasing those down. And then we're going to go ahead and start with our nose and yeses again. So again, checking in with those neck muscles and shoulder muscles as they connect. Shaking our head no. And then coming back to center and shaking our head yes. Again, exploring where it might feel tight, what might need to be loosened up. And then bringing that back to center. We're going to go ahead and do an easy seat twist. So we're taking our right hand across our body, taking the left hand behind for support, sitting nice and tall first, and then twisting back as we exhale. And then as you explore this pose a little further, Think about on your inhale, lengthening that spine up toward the ceiling. And then as you exhale, think about twisting just a little deeper. And making sure that that tailbone is in a neutral position, so it's kind of tucked under slightly. You're not overarching or putting extra strain on the low back. And releasing that forward, we'll take the other side, just very, very slowly moving into the other side, taking the left arm across the body, right hand behind for support, sitting nice and tall, and then twisting. Again, inhaling and straightening that spine, and then twisting as you exhale. Also bring your attention to your hips, that they stay anchored into the mat as you twist. And then when you're ready, you can kind of release that forward. We're going to be doing a few more twists, and I want to show you guys this little illustration. I can't remember if I showed you guys this before, but use my nice little sock here. Usually I have a rag or something, but what happens when we twist is we have to anchor in, right? And then we can twist so that it has an effect. If we don't anchor in, we get this. And so there's not really any effect on our back, you see? So that's why we gotta remember to anchor in here. Okay, so then we're gonna take our right hand down to the mat, inhale, left arm up, and then exhale off to the right hand side. Again, anchoring in through that opposite hip. Pulling the shoulder and the hip away from each other. And then coming back to center, go ahead and take the left hand down. Inhale the right arm up. And then exhale off to the left hand side. Again, pulling that shoulder away from the hip as you still plant that hip into the mat. And coming back to center. Then we're going to do an easy seat bend. And so if you want to scooch to the back of your mat and then have your legs come straight out in front. And make sure that our feet are about hip width apart. Again, we're sitting nice and tall. That tailbone is softened down, which engages our belly muscles. We're going to press our palms into the mat as we bring our shoulders down away from our ears again. And then when you're ready, you're going to tuck that chin and then round down. And then start to lean forward for caterpillar pose. Be mindful. Kind of checking in with your senses. That's one of the gifts that we have to ground us in the present. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and come up out of that. Sitting nice and tall, pressing your palms into the mat once more. This time, see if you can keep a flat back, hinge at your hips, and then crawl your fingers forward. And just as far as feels comfortable to you. This is just the warm-up, so you probably will notice that you can't come down as far as maybe you normally can, and that's okay. Maybe bring your attention to the mat underneath your legs, noticing where that hits on your body or where you can feel that. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and come up out of that pose. We're gonna go ahead and take our right hand across the body again, left hand behind, this time with legs straight out in front. Again, just twisting off to the left side. Sitting nice and tall as we inhale, and then exhale as we twist further. And releasing that forward, we'll take the other side, so left hand to the outside of the right leg, right arm behind for support, sitting nice and tall as you inhale, and then exhale as you twist. Then releasing that forward, we're going to go ahead and inhale both arms up. And then reach up high and out as we fold forward over the top of those legs. Feeling a really nice hamstring stretch here. You might even feel it coming down into the top of your calf muscles as well. And if this is not accessible to you, always feel free to bend your knees if you need to. And then here, we're going to go ahead and walk our hands back towards center. Sitting nice and tall, coming back into staff pose, and we're pressing our palms into the mat as we sit tall. This time we're going to inhale our right arm up. And we're going to reach that right hand across the body to the outside edge of the left foot if you can, or just to the outside edge of your left leg. And if you need to, you can move that other hand up for support. You will probably feel this more deeply in your IT band on the left side. You might even feel it a little bit in your low back space. And when you're ready, go ahead and walk those hands back to center. Pressing those palms in, sitting nice and tall for staff pose. And then inhale the left arm up. And reach to the outside edge of that right foot. As you exhale, again, feel free to take the right hand up for support if you need it. Taking another deep breath here. When you're ready, you can go ahead and walk those hands back to center. We're going to go ahead and rotate those ankles. We've had them flexed for a little while here. Give them a little bit of love. So first one direction and the other direction. When you're ready, we're going to go ahead and take those legs together, bend the knees and sweep to the side. As we come up onto all fours. We want to make sure that our knees are directly under our hips and that our wrists are directly underneath our shoulders. As always, feel free to make a fist here if that's easier on your wrists, or roll up your mat if you need a little extra cushion. And here we're going to start with some cat cows. So we're going to go ahead and drop the belly, let the tailbone come up, let the crown of the head come up as we inhale into cow. And then when we're ready for our exhale, you're going to tip that tailbone under, allow that curve to come through your spine, and then tuck your chin for cat. And then you're going to go ahead and drop that belly, really pressing that rib cage down toward the mat. And then when you're ready to exhale, go ahead and move into cat, stretching through the backside of those shoulders, and then going at your own pace. Inhaling into cow, and then exhaling into cat when you're ready. It's this nice, gentle movement on your spine. Then being mindful of what you're feeling or sensing in your body as you do this. coming back to center. We're gonna go ahead and take our toes together, knees as wide as the mat, and sit our hips back, stretching forward into child's pose. If that's not comfortable for your head, feel free to make two fists, one on top of each other, and rest your head on top of your fists. Give your head a little bit more support. Again, breathing deeply here. You know, mindfulness is so important, but it also has a lot of benefits, including it seems to slow down time. That might just be that our perception of time is right-sized. I'm sure that we've all had moments where our minds were so busy that as we were doing another activity, we just didn't even realize that we were doing it. Maybe when we're walking in from the car to the office, or when we're brushing our teeth, or whatever it might be. Sometimes we kind of wake up to the fact that, oh, I just did that thing and I don't even hardly remember it. Mindfulness helps us to be present in that moment. When we're ready, we're going to go ahead and take our palms, press them into the mat, pulling ourselves up onto all fours once more. We're going to try some barrel rolls, and what that means, what that means is we're going to, almost like if there was a string tied around your middle and you were going to draw with that string, you're going to take your rib cage down toward the mat and then out toward the side and then arch it up and around and down again. So it looks something like this. You know, it almost looks like you're coming into cow first, and then you're kind of arching out to the side, and then up into calf, and then over to the side, and then back down. So we're going to do a few of those one direction first. Drawing those vertical circles with your middle of your body. And then going the other direction. Just maybe doing 3 or 4 of those as feels natural to you. And then we're going to come back to neutral, and we're going to do some hip shifts. So first, we're going to take those hips off to the left-hand side, and then we're going to kind of draw a circle with our hips, this time back and around, then coming up to the left-hand side. And if you'd like, you can also complete the circle to the front. If you want to lean forward into modified plank a little bit, feel free to do that. If not, you can kind of make your circle a little bit flatter and just kind of go from one side straight over to the other. That's just fine too. Again, depending on what's available for you in your body today. So we'll do 3 or 4 in one direction first, and then we'll go the opposite direction, taking those hips out to the other side, back over the heels, and out to the other side, and forward again. Paying attention and being mindful of if there's any kind of sticky spots or places where you might feel stiff. Breathing deeply into those spaces. And then when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and come back to center, into that neutral tabletop position. This time, we're going to leave our hips over top of our knees if we can. I'm going to stretch. I'm going to start with my left arm. Stretch the left arm forward and then thread the right arm underneath. Coming and leaning down on top of that right arm.
And if this is putting too much pressure on your head, feel free to kind of sit your hips back a little bit, if that is helpful for you. Taking some deep breaths here. And then when you're ready, taking that right arm, sliding it out, and then switching sides, taking that left arm down, resting your head on the mat. Taking some deep breaths. And then sliding that left hand back out. Go ahead and sit those hips all the way back to the child's pose. Resting your head on the mat, or making your two fists and resting your forehead on your fists. And as we pause here in this position, I'm going to read our prayer for us again. It says, "Slow me down, Lord. Ease the pounding of my heart by the quieting of my mind. Steady my hurried pace. Give me, amidst the day's confusion, the calmness of everlasting hills. Break the tension of my nerves and muscles with the soothing music of singing streams that live in my memory. Help me to know the magical, restoring power of sleep. Teach me the art of taking minute vacations, slowing down to look at a flower, to chat with a friend, to read a few lines from a good book. Remind me of the fable of the hare and the tortoise, that the race is not always to the swift, that there is more to life than measuring its speed. Let me look up at the branches of the towering oak and know that it grew slowly and well. Inspire me to send my own roots down deep into the soil of life's endearing values, that I may grow toward the stars of my greater destiny. Slow me down, Lord. Thank you for hearing and answering my prayer. Gratefully in your name, amen." We're going to go ahead and pull ourselves back up onto all fours once more. We're going to go ahead and slide that right knee forward between our two front hands, settling down into pigeon pose on that right side, and then leaning forward over top of that front knee. And again, if it's comfortable for you, you can go ahead and make two fists, one on top of each other, and rest your forehead on top of those. Again, noticing any stiffness or points of pain. Breathing deeply into those spaces. Finding a little movement if you need to. And then when you're ready, you're going to work yourself up onto your palms once more. Sliding that right knee back and sliding the left knee forward into place. Sinking down into pigeon pose on the other side. Coming down onto your elbows if you'd like. Again, making fists and resting your head on those if you'd like. Continuing to be mindful of your breath. When you're ready, you can go ahead and work yourself up onto those hands, sliding that left knee back. Here we're going to actually switch ourselves to the center of our mats. And so we're going to turn around, coming up onto our knees.
I'm gonna do gate pose here, so we're gonna take one leg out to the side, so I'm gonna start with my right foot here. And think about, again, our posture, softening that tailbone down, extending our spine up kind of toward the ceiling, and using our right hand on that leg for a little bit of support. We're gonna inhale that left arm up, and then lean off to that right side. And taking some deep breaths, making sure that you're not hinging your hips backward, but you're just coming straight down to the side if you can. And then coming up out of that, we're gonna go ahead and take that left hand down to the mat. We're gonna extend that right arm up overhead for a little modified side angle. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and come up to the center again. And then bring that right leg in. And take that left leg out to the other side, whichever side you're sitting on. Pressing that outer edge into the mat if you can. Using that left palm on your thigh for a little bit of support. Stand nice and tall, and then inhale that right arm up. And then go ahead and move off to the left-hand side. Trying to draw that belly button still in toward your spine. Checking in to make sure that your pelvic bone is in a neutral place. And coming up out of that, taking that right hand down to the mat, lifting the left arm up overhead for a modified side angle on the other side. Taking some nice deep breaths here. Go ahead and come up out of that pose. We're going to go ahead and bring that leg in. We're going to turn toward the short edge of the mat, and then we're going to step our right foot forward, coming into low lunge on the right side. And either you can leave your palms here, or if you would like, you can add some arms in, whether that's crescent lunge arms or maybe cactus arms, depending on what you need. And taking those palms down to the mat, go ahead and shift your weight to the back knee, allowing the right toes to come up, getting a nice stretch on the right hamstring for half split. And walking your weight forward, planting that right foot on the mat again. Go ahead and heel toe that foot out to the edge of the mat, bringing both palms to the inside. And then if you would like, you can either stay here or you can come down onto your elbows for lizard pose.
Lizard jump.
Lizard to know what you do. And then either you can stay here, you're going to turn that palm down to face the mat, really extending those fingers out for a bit of stability. Or if you are here, you're just going to spread those fingers out wide for a little bit of stability. And then reach up with that right hand toward the ceiling for a lizard twist. So take another deep breath here. And go ahead and take that right arm back down. Work yourself up onto your palms if you're not there already. Take those palms, one on either side of the front foot as you heel toe that foot back toward the center, shifting your weight to that back knee. Once more, coming into half split. Taking a nice deep breath. Then shifting our weight forward once more,
This time we're going to heel toe our foot across our body to the opposite edge of the mat and allow that knee to come down as we lower ourselves into pigeon pose. You might have to bring that foot closer to your body to make that more accessible for you. But if it feels good to keep it out, then feel free to do that. And then leaning forward once more over top of that front leg. When you're ready, you can come back up onto your palms. You're gonna sit on that right hip and swing that back leg all the way around and across that front knee. And then hug that knee into your chest for a little kind of pretzel pose here. And taking a deep breath. Being mindful of all the things, right? Our breath, the mat, how our body feels, the sounds that we hear. And if you're able, we're going to sit really nice and tall and move into fire log pose here. So let me turn to face you all so you can see this. Your legs are essentially stacked on top of each other here. If this is too hard for your knees, then just put them one in front of the other like this, or a simple seated position would be fine too. So that, again, sitting nice and tall, softening that tailbone down, engaging the low abdomen in this pose. And then going back into pigeon pose, we're going to take that top leg, swing it behind us, and move back into pigeon pose on that side. And then when we're ready, we're going to slide that right knee back behind us and back into all fours. And if you'd like, you can do a couple of those hip shifts again, maybe swaying from side to side or exploring what feels comfortable to you. Maybe noticing we've stretched out one side pretty well already and the other side not yet. So maybe you notice a difference there. And moving back to our neutral tabletop position, we're going to step our left foot forward now. Coming down into low lunge on the other side. Pausing here first. And then walking our hands back, shifting our weight to that back knee as we allow the left toes to come off of the mat. And then go ahead and walk yourself back forward. And there's that low lunge once more. This time taking both hands to the inside of that front foot, heel toeing that foot out to the side. And then again, you can either stay here, or if it's available to you, you can come down onto your elbows. And then go ahead and if you're here, spreading out those fingertips, jazz hands, right? Or if you are here on your palms, again, spreading out those fingertips, creating a really nice solid base. And then reaching up with that left hand up toward the ceiling. And then checking in with your alignment here. Breathing into those spaces that might feel stiff or sore. And then exhaling that hand back onto the mat. We're going to go ahead and take that hand to the outside of that foot as we heel toe it back to center. And then shifting our weight to that back knee again. Stretch into half split once more.
And then go ahead and plant that foot down, the front foot down as we come back into low lunge. This time we're gonna heel toe that foot across the body to the outside edge of the mat. And then allow that knee to come down into pigeon pose. Again, bring that foot in close to the body if you need to. And then fold forward over top of that front knee. Again, thinking about being mindfully present. When you're ready, you can go ahead and come back up onto your palms. Sitting down on that left hip, you're gonna swing that back leg all the way around and over top of that front knee, hugging that knee into your chest. And then when you're ready, you can start to move into fire log pose, where your legs are stacked one on top of the other. Let me turn toward the front again here. Or again, if this is not available to you, feel free to bring one leg in front of the other. Coming into a seated pose that works too. So then again, softening that tailbone down, lengthening that spine. Being present with your breath. And then when you're ready, you're going to take that top leg and swing it back behind you again, coming back into pigeon pose. Go back to the inside here. Planting the palms into the mat. We're going to slide that left knee back to meet the right knee. This time we're going to bring those knees together and then shift our hips back for child's pose. Head draping our upper body over top of the lower body. Pausing here and breathing deeply. When you're ready, you can go ahead and press those palms into the mat, pulling yourself up onto all fours once more. This time making sure that your knees are underneath your hips. Then walking your hands back towards your body as you round up slowly. Head should be the last thing that comes into pose. And we're going to move into camel pose. There are several kind of stops along the way here. So if it's most comfortable for you today, you're going to take your hands to the low back. Open up that chest as you draw the elbows together. You're looking up toward the ceiling and then shifting your hips forward slightly. If you'd like to explore this a little bit more deeply, you can either take one hand down and grab onto your heel, or you can take both. Breathing deeply here. Coming up out of that, go ahead and sit the hips back, extend the arms forward, coming down into child's pose. Then pulling yourself up onto all fours once more. Go ahead and arch up into cat. And then as we inhale, go ahead and walk your hands back towards your knees, standing up. Coming back into standing on your knees. We'll do the camel pose one more time. So taking those hands to that little back space. Again, drawing the elbows together. Looking up, opening up the chest, shifting the hips forward. And then if you would like, you can take a little further, reaching back to grab a hold of those heels. And then coming up out of that, go ahead and sit the hips back once more, stretching the arms forward, and down into child's pose. And then pressing the palms into the mat, coming up onto all fours, arching the back, coming into cat pose. Then inhaling as you walk your hands back towards your knees, come to standing on those knees. Think about a little bit of like a modified mountain pose here. Taking a few recovery breaths. And when you're ready, we're going to move our palms back down to the mat. This time we're going to move into modified plank pose first, and then lower ourselves all the way down to the mat, keeping our elbows in toward our bodies as we do so. Now allow the tops of the feet to press into the mat as we lift our upper body up into cobra. Again, just coming as far as feels comfortable to you. Checking in with those elbows if they're in close to the body, they're not splayed out to either side. And then go ahead and release that all the way down to the mat. This time, we're going to take our hands underneath our head like a little pillow. And as we rest here in this pose for a moment, I would invite you to think about a moment where you tend to not be mindful. Maybe that's driving in the car on a long road trip, or maybe there's a particular personality in your life that's difficult for you, and so you kind of tune out when they start talking. But bring that moment to mind. And then invite the spirit into that moment to be present with you in that moment. To awaken your senses, to help you either get through that moment if you need to just get through it, or to be more mindful of that moment so you can experience it. When you're ready, you can work yourself up onto your elbows. And spread those fingers wide again. Pressing our elbows into the mat, making sure that our shoulders are down away from our ears. Taking the crown of the head up toward the ceiling. And then when you're ready, we can go ahead and work ourselves back down onto the mat. This time you're just going to take one hand to help cradle your head. You're going to take the other arm straight out to the side. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and take the opposite leg, bending it at the knee. This is kind of how I used to sleep as a kid. And then if you would like, you can start to raise your head up off the mat just slightly, tenting the fingers that were just cradling your head out to the side of your body, and then pushing slightly away, getting a really nice stretch on the front side of that opposite shoulder. This is called broken wing. When you're ready, you can go ahead and release that down to the mat. Extend that leg down. Take the other arm in as you rest your head down. Take the other arm straight out from your body again. Move the opposite leg this time into a bent knee position. And then when you're ready, you can raise your head up. Extend the tented arm out to the side, so your elbow's at a 90-degree angle, and then push that mat away from you. Give you
really nice stretch in the front side of that other shoulder. Taking another deep breath here. And releasing that down. Go ahead and take that leg out long. Both arms come in. Creating a little pillow for your head. And then leaving one arm there underneath your head, you're going to reach back alongside of your body with one arm and take the same side leg, bending it and placing the top of that foot into the palm of that same side hand. So I'm starting with my right. With my right arm stretched back, the right knee bent, top of the right foot in my right palm. Feeling this really nice quad stretch here. When you're ready, you can go ahead and release that down. Switching arms. Reaching back for me, this time with the left arm. Taking that left leg, bending it deeply, placing the top of my left foot in my left palm. Again, being present to the moment, breathing deeply. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and release that down to the mat, bringing both arms again up underneath your head. This time you're bending both knees, taking the soles of your feet toward the ceiling. And then just letting those feet fall to one side and bringing them back to center, and then letting them fall to the other side. You'll notice that your hips come up off of the mat here when you do this, and that's okay. It's called windshield wiper pose.
I'm guessing that's not a very ancient name.
Yes. I wonder what they would have called this then in the ancient days, or if they even had this pose, who knows? When you're ready, you can bring both feet back to center, releasing those feet down to the mat. And then taking your hands underneath your shoulders, pushing yourself up into modified plank first. And then shifting your hips back, we'll come back down into our child's pose. And either you can stay here in child's pose if that's comfortable for you, or you can flip over on your mat onto your back. And you can either bring your knees into your chest like this, or you can release your legs down for our final relaxation pose here. And as you move into your final relaxation pose and find some stillness there, then I will read our prayer for us one more time. It says, "Slow me down, Lord. Ease the pounding of my heart by the quieting of my mind. Steady my hurried pace. Give me, amidst the day's confusion, the calmness of the everlasting hills. Break the tension of my nerves and muscles with the soothing music of singing streams that live in my memory. Help me to know the magical, restoring power of sleep. Teach me the art of taking minute vacations, slowing down to look at a flower, to chat with a friend, to read a few lines from a good book. Remind me of the fable of the hare and the tortoise, that the race is not always to the swift, that there is more to life than measuring its speed.
Let me look up at the branches of the towering oak and know that it grew slowly and well. Inspire me to send my own roots down deep into the soil of life's endearing values, that I may grow toward the stars of my greater destiny. Slow me down, Lord. Thank you for hearing and answering my prayer. Gratefully, in your name, amen. So we will take just a few moments of quiet here, and then I'll call us back together when we're ready to finish. When you're ready, you can go ahead and wiggle your toes and wiggle your fingers. Roll to one side. Gently push yourself up into a seated position. And either you can place your hands on your heart or open on your knees if you'd like. And to end, we will just take a nice deep breath together and just release that as long as we can. When you're ready, you can take your hands, start at center if they're not already there. And that's the end for today, so thank you.
Grab this.